What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is episode 88 of Epitome of Stupidity, your favorite allegedly metal podcast that is maybe, apparently, possibly back from the dead. Hey, if you're hearing this, then maybe that's a thing. In the background, you can hear tunage from Oktas. They are fucking cool, and we're going to talk more about them here shortly. The song in the background that you are hearing is called Silfra. No, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I said it anyways. They are a band from Philly that is 2 bass players, a cellist, and a drummer. And if you think, holy shit, that sounds like some doomy awesomeness, you are on the right track. It's been a while, so I will introduce myself. I am Clint, your host for the day, or the duration, or some notable amount of time. Usually, my buddy Brian is with me, but we all know that A, he smells funny, and B, he's a busy guy. So I think in this kind of return, you're probably going to be stuck with a lot of me. He will still be around here and there helping out with things, but like I said, you're probably going to be stuck with hearing me getting progressively drunker, talking to people, and saying things. So you've got that to look forward to. The thing that I always liked about the show is being able to talk for a second about shit that I'm listening to. So, since Brian's not here to tell me not to, I'm going to do that. Currently, I'm listening to, I've recently it's February. I'm sorry, no, I'm trying to fast forward time for some reason. It's January 27th, and I've recently got out of my winter post-metal run. And it's led me to things like Red Sparrows, which has led me to things like Pink Floyd, and somehow I ended up in a Pearl Jam and Deftones loop. But more than anything, here recently, I've been jamming the fuck out of that Slower album, which is a handful of doom metal and other all-stars covering Slayer songs. You guessed it, slower. And it's fucking badass. Holy macaroni. What the fuck? That it was a great idea that worked out to fruition in all of its fucking glory, and you should check that out. Also, I'm hoping to talk to somebody from there here in the next, I don't know, pick an amount of time. In the kind of rebirth of this fucking stupidity, I plan on talking to a lot of the, kind of the normal run of things here with bands that are just awesome and you probably haven't heard a ton of because, well, A, the bands that you've heard a ton of don't want to talk to me, and B, the bands that you haven't heard of, you should. That's why we're doing this. This will include, I think, to some degree, maybe some locals. Obviously, the easiest thing for me to do here is Columbus locals because that's where I am. But I think there will be opportunities for me to kind of expand that with contacts and people that we're friendly with in other areas and maybe kind of live vicariously through other local scenes and see what they've got going on. But this is all a kind of one stupid ass step at a time type thing. And this is the first one. If it sounds like I might have forgotten how to say some of these things, it's because I have. Something I haven't forgotten is that, like me, you're probably drinking a shitty beer right now. Well, I'm drinking a Modelo. You're drinking a shitty beer. Probably. Maybe. Who knows? I don't fucking know. We could all do better with drinking. And to do that, you should find you some mead. And not just any mead, but some Brimminghorn mead. Because those guys make literal award-winning mead, and it is fucking delicious. You like delicious. I like delicious. We both like alcohol. We should get some fucking Brimminghorn mead. And to do that, we should use code EPITOMEAD to get a 10% discount off your order. That's EPITOMEAD. Those guys have previously been the coolest. They are currently the coolest. And they will in the future be the coolest. And they will always be putting together delicious fucking alcohol for you and I to consume. I think I've said all the stupid shit that I plan to say before contacting my friend Bob of Oktas. Oktas? We're going to find out. This is the part where I make some number sounds because Brian's not here to be the other end of it. So beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, and ring. Okay, and for some reason, Bob took my call. Actually, Bob called me because of technology. But anyways, with me on the phone now is Bob of Oktas. Bob, how the fuck are you this, I don't know about your end, but gray Saturday for me?
Oh, I'm doing great over here. Just it's not too gray over here in Philadelphia, but it's it's like unseasonably warm, which is kind of nice, but it's also kind of alarming sometimes for January. But I'll take it.
It's there's a lot of the same here in Columbus, and I think we've had enough years in a row that we have to consider, do we really need to say it's unseasonably warm, or is this just the fucking norm now?
It just might be. I don't know. I feel like we had like maybe 1 or 2 weeks of winter, which was like, oh, this is nice, and then it's immediately over, which
right.
I don't necessarily mind.
And it's always some fucking insane extreme where it was -10 for 3 days, and then there was snow, and now it's 50 degrees.
Yeah, they just like compact winter into those 2 days and just go nuts with it, and then it's over. Which, I mean, it's not too bad. I'll take it, as long as it just doesn't get to like 5 months of like 100+ degree weather or something. But we'll see.
I mean, live another 3 years and we'll revisit this.
Yeah, right.
My typical way to start these conversations is because, as I kind of alluded to earlier in this thing, I love talking about what I'm listening to, and I love hearing what other people are listening to. So, Bob, what the hell are you listening to?
Oh, well, I've been listening to, typically, I guess, like every January, I get into like my deep atmospheric black metal phase. I don't know, just like the mood strikes me. I guess it's kind of best written for that kind of season. But I've listened to a lot of Panopticon, Winter Filth. Listened to some of that new, what is it, Drudka? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I don't either.
Yeah. But that kind of stuff, it's kind of moody, kind of like creepy, and it just, I don't know, whenever it's kind of cold, which was cold for a little bit, that's usually kind of my go-to winter playlist for now. And I try my best to keep up with new bands that are putting out albums and stuff, and try to pay attention, but it's tough to keep up with when there's like new releases every other day.
Right.
So
it's that your response there is mildly amusing to me, because just a handful of minutes ago I said that I just finished my winter run of post metal stuff.
Oh, nice.
Because once the weather hits a certain, once it's -10, it's like, okay, no, of course I'm going to listen to Call to Luna. What else would you listen to?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That stuff's great. Yeah, love me some Call to Luna.
Oh man, that's so good. But let's talk a little bit about Oktas. And I am saying that right, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, at least that's how we've been pronouncing it. So
that works for me.
Yeah.
I gave the short version of what the band is earlier, but obviously you're more in tune with your band, so let's hear you explain Oktas.
Well, it's a 2 bass, cello, and drum band. We draw a lot of heavily influence from, I'd say, I guess, like a lot of 90s doom kind of stuff, sort of like Type O Negative, Isis, Neurosis kind of stuff. There's also a fair amount of some of that atmospheric black metal I just talked about creeps in here and there, and there's a little bit of like Gothenburg, like melodic death metal in there, and yeah, it basically stemmed from me, being a bass player, and just kind of always wanting to hear bands that kind of like do a dual bass player, where they're doing harmonies and like chord work and doing a lot of playing the bass in a similar way as like guitars would. And I just kind of was like, waiting for someone else to do it. And I was like, you know what, maybe I should just do that with my band. So that's kind of where the concept came from. And yeah, it's been fun. We've been exploring. I think it's, we're trying to do something sonically different, but also keep it, familiar and interesting enough for people. We don't want to get like too far out there where it's like it's a little unlistenable. We want to still do some like catchy riffs and some cool melodic leads, and we're fortunate enough to work with our friend Agnes, who's actually a classically trained musician who actually has like a master's degree in this kind of stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is always fun because we're just we don't know anything about music theory really. just know if it sounds good, and we're just like, oh yeah, I think that part's in A, and she's like, guys, that's in B. And we're like, all right, yeah, sorry, I don't know. But it's always fun to see where because she fills in a lot of the blanks that we don't know things about. But then also being in like a live band, like we fill in the blanks, some of the stuff that she's not necessarily as familiar with. So it's it's been fun for us both. Kind of a learning experience. It's been good.
Now that was an excellent answer that I'm equal parts not prepared for and over prepared for. So I've got questions lined up here that I'm going to call back to that response from. But other than that, I'm going to try to keep the same run of things here for now, at least. And my follow up to that first question is, possibly more importantly, how do you explain your music to your grandparents?
Oh, my grandparents. I think that they think that I'm like some kind of like rock star or something just because I like play shows and stuff. But I'm just like, Graham, I am nowhere near any kind of rock star. They have a lot of, kind of like grand illusion about what it's like, and, actually doing it and actually touring and actually doing all that stuff is a lot more work, and there's just not as much money in it anymore. And I feel like my grandparents and my parents, they support me. I'm fortunate in that way where I have a lot of it's a very supportive family, but they don't get it. They don't get it at all. And they're just sort of like, okay, yeah, oh, you're screaming, huh? Did that hurt? Yeah, sometimes if I do it too long. Yeah, they've gone to my parents in previous shows. They've come out to a couple shows just to throw some support, and I'll always kind of point them out. Just be like, yeah, there's my mom. She's here. Just checking in to see how I spent all that money that they gave me for college. I'm using all that.
Hi, Mom.
But yeah,
So I think you kind of gave us the Cliff Notes version of this earlier, but do you want to kind of expand on the whole idea for how the band came about and how it evolved?
Yeah, sure. Originally, even the first EP that we're going to be trying to like kind of re-release onto Spotify and everything, we kind of released that. I think it was like 2019, and that release I've been in a bunch of bands for like 20 years now, so they're always fun, they're always great, but I wanted something that I had a little bit more control over. So I pretty much wrote the first original EP, and then realizing that like I don't know how to play drums or like I need someone else to help me with other bass parts. I asked two of my oldest friends, Ron McCulley and Carl Whitlock, who I've been in other previous bands with, to kind of like help bring the whole sound together and everything. And then I had this other band. It was called Cloudminder. It's kind of like a post rock band that I did like maybe like 10 years ago. So a very good friend of mine, Jason Barron, who is a kind of like a multi-instrumentalist. He was playing like cello a lot at the time, and I kind of wanted to work with him because we're just old friends. And I was like, yeah, this is fun. I want to do something with my friends. So I kind of brought him on to add some cello parts to the original release. And then once we started thinking about trying to play shows and everything is when we were just like, hey, man, we live in, the other side of the country. Is it cool if we start asking for someone local to help out with it?
Oh, wow.
And fortunately, we had a couple friends who were just like, yo, our friend Agnes, she fucking shreds. You should go check her out. Ask her if she wants to join. And we're just like, hey. I remember she was actually like a friend of my wife's, and I remember just kind of like emailing her like out of the blue, and I was just like, hey, I think you're friends with my wife, just to immediately like be like, I'm not a creep, weirdo. But I hear you're really good at cello. Would you be any interested in checking out my my goofy old bass band? So then it kind of expanded from there. But of course, like, yeah, we released the first EP in like 2019, and the pandemic immediately happened. And then the idea of playing that live just was like, all right, well, at least this is never going to really see the light of day. So then we just started working on the newest album, which we released in 2022, which we went on tour with, which we played with your band in Columbus with, I guess last year. Yeah, and so it's been, that kind of a ride ever since, and we're just going to try to. I think we're going to the one song that we were talking about, Silphra, which is kind of like the song that really kind of like made everything click. You know what I mean? Like we had a couple other songs on that EP, which I'm really proud of, which sound great. But that song was the one where I was like, I think we got something here, kind of. So we're trying to bring that one back. We're going to try to play that one live, and we'll probably re-record it and have it a different version of it on the next release, which we've been chipping away at. We have a handful of ideas floating around with. and we're just trying to like hone it all down and trim the fat, and then add more stupid parts, and then just look, oh, that's a bad idea, and then get rid of it. The writing process.
The process, right? Yeah, no. You and I were kind of talking before I pushed record about how I personally am a failure in the Oktas realm because I didn't bother with listening to the previous album that was just on Bandcamp that you've mentioned you guys were working on getting re-released on Spotify. And I tell you what, man, that is, the bass tones are so fucking different there than they are on the Spotify album that I should know the name of, but I don't.
Oh, it's okay.
The thing on Bandcamp is the self-titled, right? And then on Spotify is
the Finite and the Infinite. Yeah, the first album. Yeah.
But yeah, man, this I can completely see why you guys want to get that to be a wider available thing, because there's a lot of really cool shit going on there, as can be heard at the very intro of this thing, where I listened to a bunch of stuff from the band that we're going to be talking to, and try to figure out what section of whatever song it is that we want to put at the beginning of the album, or I'm sorry, the beginning of the podcast. And with this one, it was an absolute no-brainer. That first minute is just fucking great. Like, if that doesn't grab you and make you want to hear more, A, check your pulse. B, recheck your pulse. And C, turn the damn volume up.
Oh man, well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a fun release, and we're trying to get it back into the light of day, especially in the interim in between like albums and everything. I think it'd be good to try to do some of that stuff live, and get it back out there, because we didn't really do it any justice, because it just was, we didn't know what to do with it. We weren't sure, we were ever going to have live shows again.
Right.
Is it all over?
Weird fucking times.
Like, what's happening? Yeah, it was so scary. I remember just just spraying down the mail and stuff, and coming back from work, and then just having to immediately sit down and then go to the shower. It's like, we have the disease. Oh my God. And it's just, who knew, right?
Wiping down fruit from Kroger and all that shit. Yeah, no.
My God. Yeah.
No, I do not miss any of that.
No, that was awful. That was not great time. So hopefully we don't go back.
If it sounds awkward here, it's because I realized that I forgot my bottle opener and I had to go get it, and now I'm sufficiently lubed and trying to get back to a conversation that was going pretty smoothly until I had to interrupt it. A relevant question I feel like with Oktas here is, at any moment in any Oktas song, especially if you include the cellist, approximately how many bass strings are in use at any one moment?
Well, we do a lot of chord work. So we do play a lot of chords. So, I mean, we're definitely using, I play a 5-string. Carl actually uses a 6-string. So yeah, we're going through all the, strumming off big power chords and everything. And even for the, last album, I think we had maybe 4 bass tracks each. I think we were doing rhythm tracks and lead tracks, and yeah, it's kind of a nightmare to mix because it is kind of it's such a different thing where the bass is sort of taking over the role of the guitar, but then also still trying to be the bass, and
a la Type of Negative.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And it's been a bit of a challenge in itself, which is kind of the fun part about it too, where we're just sort of because when we recorded the last album, it was just funny how we had to put on the bass boost on every speaker that we had, because we're just where is the bass? And it's just oh, we got to crank that shit up. But it's definitely makes it a bit challenging, especially when it's kind of because we try to treat the bass like a guitar, because it is essentially doing all the guitar work. But there's a lot of kind of set. If you have a 2-guitar band, it's already kind of you kind of already know what to do. It's already been set in stone for decades now.
Right.
Whereas this project, it's just kind of all right, well, the bass is usually in the middle, but we kind of got to push it out to the side a little bit, and then bass is doing a lead now and stuff. Okay, so we're gonna have to try to figure out where to put that. But like I said, yeah, that's half the fun. It's just figuring out how to make it sound good and still be true to bass, because I don't want it to be oh, the bass is just doing guitar stuff. It's no, the bass is still doing bass stuff.
Right.
Don't abandon that, but So it's fun. But yeah, there's a lot going on. We were just going nuts. We had multiple amps. It was, I don't know. Whenever I get into the studio, that's kind of like the fun time. Just like playing through all the heads and just trying to make cool sounds and everything. So we definitely went a little nuts and had to dial a lot back.
Well, you kind of mentioned peripherally there just a minute ago where your band and our band, Insidiance is our band, and again the actual good band here is Oktas, played a show together a while back, and I can certainly confirm that you guys have no shortage of amps and heads to fucking play through, because
oh yeah,
I think we just finished loading you guys back up, and that show was a year ago.
Yeah, man, it was yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
It sounded fucking. The good thing is that it certainly got the job done, because you guys were loud as fuck and it sounded great.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks, man. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to do. We're a bunch of gearheads too, and we're like always spending money on amps and stuff, and just trying to see what sounds good. And it's a big part of the fun too. We enjoy bringing the wall, but our backs necessarily don't, especially since like our practice space is on like the second floor of a warehouse in like the Port Richmond area of like Philadelphia. It's almost like it's like it makes me want to not like do shows as much. I'm just like, guys, it's just so much work just getting there. I don't know. I'm not back and taking it anymore. I'm in my early 40s. I don't know.
Right.
But it's worth it for the sound and for the appeal. So, and we always have fun. And then we bring it into a show, and then the sound person's always just like, "What the fuck is this?" We're just like, "Well, I just play rhythm bass, and this is lead bass, and then we have a cellist, so got to make sure she sounds good."
Right.
I'm sure it's a nightmare. But,
how long did it take you guys to figure out how to like recording is its own thing, because you've got a bit more time, and it's not exactly there aren't time constraints necessarily. But how long did it take you guys to sort out getting the cellist set up and mixed right in a live setting through the thousands of amps that you guys bring to every show and all that stuff?
Oh, it's definitely a challenge. Agnes she uses she has like a pickup for her cello, so she can plug it into an amp, which helps out. I mean, it's at least like helps her like so she can hear herself, and kind of works as like a monitor. But yeah, we almost always need to go through the PA and just be like, look, if you can't hear her, just like crank her up as much as you can. But
almost treat it like vocals, right?
Essentially, yeah. We gotta like tell everyone, like, it's gonna be loud. Just she's got to be soaring over top of it, otherwise it's not gonna be worth it. But
right.
Yeah, definitely its own challenge, especially since it's an acoustic instrument, and she has sort of like a ceiling of like the volume she can get
right,
to.
Yeah.
And then she'll start like feeding back like crazy. So it's definitely a balance where the sky's the limit for us and the amps, but we gotta have to be considerate of her as well, just to make sure that just the whole package, everything has to be audible. So that's definitely the live aspect of it has been our own challenge. We got like voltage meters and stuff, and we're trying to be smart about it, but it's definitely its own challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's because it's such an integral part of the sound, but again, it's an acoustic stringed instrument that you're trying to put that fucking high up into things. On one hand, I envy you guys for the originality of it, but on the other hand, I don't envy you guys on having to sort that out every night, let alone her trying to. Good for you guys and her, I guess, is what I'm getting around to saying, because you're better people than me for sorting it out and doing the better music.
Yeah, we certainly didn't pick an easy road, either with the mixing or the bringing of all the crap to every show. We certainly don't make it easy on ourselves.
Well, I mean, fun stuff. The sentence I was going to say there is fun stuff isn't usually easy, but that's not right, is it? Because I guess fun stuff can go either way. Yeah.
It can be.
Off of that awful fucking segue, I'm going to say that in some of my research, quote unquote, there for this show, I found myself on Metal Archives, and I clicked. There's a little. You guys are on there, and there's a little tab slated as related artists, and I clicked on it thinking, what the fuck is going to be here? And you know what was there?
No,
absolutely nothing.
Oh, really?
It said no similar artist has been recommended yet.
Huh.
So
okay, well, I mean,
I don't know if that's a question so much as a commendation, and that, just fucking good job for blazing your own damn path.
I mean, it's kind of what we were going for in a way. We definitely wanted to be something different, something unique, but also familiar enough. I think we got a lot of similar influences that people would recognize. I think when they hear it. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. I mean, I just wanted that big fat bass sound, and I mean, not to rag on any guitars. My wife is a guitarist and she plays in a couple bands, and she's just like, you know what? Any other guy would be proud to be with a sexy guitarist like me, but you're a guitarist racist. I'm like, what? No, I'm not. I love guitar. Like clearly all of our music is like influenced by heavy guitar, or guitar heavy music.
Right.
But it's just sort of like striving for that, like kind of like that different kind of vibe.
Sure.
I mean, I love metal. I love music. I love it so much, but there's a lot of shit out there that is just the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
And I don't hate it. It's not like it's done poorly. A lot of times it's executed well. A lot of times it's just, I don't know, I already got this album. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's kind of like my own personal, just be like, I'm always looking for just something different. Maybe it's because I am a little bit older now and maybe a bit more jaded and I've, heard enough stuff. I'm just kind of like, this just sounds like that other band, but I guess that's kind of their shtick.
Right.
So it's always like been kind of like the goal. And, I'm always trying to find something new and different and interesting within the metal world, because that's what makes it exciting.
Right.
Because the metal has like no rules. They've already accepted that nobody's gonna ever make any money doing this kind of shit. So they're just like, might as well go buck wild and just get nuts with it.
Just do something fucking weird.
Yeah. So it's just what we're going for ourselves. So I'll kind of take that no similar artist thing as like a badge of pride. It's like, yeah, that's right. We're unique and weird.
You're goddamn right. Yeah, no, man. Like I totally. I totally agree with most of your sentiment there, in that, like, I find myself, it's so weird. You're basically the same age as I am, and in our time, we've gone through having to buy CDs without hearing any damn thing except for the fucking single, to having everything at your fucking fingertips all the time.
Oh yeah.
And it's both beneficial and a detriment, in that it's so easy to just kind of fall back into the things you've heard 1,000 times before and you like. True. But you can turn on any damn random thing. I don't know. I guess I should only speak for myself here, in that I do my damnedest to give a lot of weird stuff a try, a lot of stuff I haven't heard a try, but it's easy for me to... It's equal parts easy for me to get lost in something that I've never fucking heard before, and also be quick to turn away from it, thinking, no, I'm not in the mood for this. This isn't working for me. I'm going to turn on volume 4 for the 900th fucking time today.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely in the same mode, where I think it's a lot of like the way you're at in the day too. I think there's a lot of times where I'm just wanting to hear something like, all right, what just came out, and I'll just like check and see whatever anybody's like suggesting, and I'll like give it a couple tries, But then there's days where I'm just like, I just want to listen to the same thing that I've been listening to for the past decade,
right?
Just right now, because this is what I want to hear. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's like a comfort zone kind of thing. But I think there's also, there's something to be said about, just trying to discover something new. Because, I mean, if I'm being honest, like the vast majority of a lot of new stuff that comes out, I'm like, rarely is it like a hatred thing, but it's just more of like an indifferent thing. I'm just like,
yes.
It's not bad, but it's just like, it's not like great either. It's not like blowing my mind or anything. And that's when you're looking for something to blow your mind, it's just kind of, the bar is just set that much higher.
Right. So and when so much stuff is available, so consistent, like I always see, not always, but I've seen multiple articles about how 90% of artists on Spotify are less than 1,000 listens. And it's like, because any damn body can put what the hell ever they want on there. There's a glut, and I'm not arguing against it, obviously. Like at this point, I don't know, like we all know that our devices and everything are listening to us, and this is something that I shouldn't say out loud, but for my wallet's sake, but for people like you's sake, I should say out loud, and that Spotify could charge me so fucking much more, and they would not lose me. I completely depend on this service at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm the same way. I definitely have the Spotify Prime, and it's like $10 a month, and I feel, it's. I think we got spoiled with radio as well, because we just got kind of used to getting like kind of free content for a long time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I do my best to try to, like, if there's a band that I really like, I'll try to buy a T-shirt or something.
I'm
Which is
actually
kind of
wearing
like,
my Oktas t-shirt right now.
oh, nice, hells yeah, man, love it. Yeah, that's I mean, I feel like that kind of what is a lot of bands have turned into, is just sort of like, well, we're just T-shirt salesmen now. It's kind of like,
yeah, yep.
whenever I go to a show, I'm just like, yo, man, you're here to play death metal and sell T-shirts. Just do it. Just don't worry about how many people are here. Just try to get somebody to buy some stuff. Just try to get money in that gas tank.
Man, I had just taken a big ass drink of this fucking beer when you said that, and I damn near lost it all over a bunch of electronics.
Oh no.
Okay, let's see here. Where can we pick back up from here? You know what? This is an interesting conversation for me. Bass influences. You started talking about some of these things in a loose way earlier here. Let's go through what has got you to your 5-string and your chords and all these things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely a big Typo Negative. Peter Steele was a big influence on me. I liked how he played, and how this is like self-deprecating sense of humor, I guess,
Sure.
sort of like endeared me to him a lot. Where I mean, I would just remember like Halloween like shows in like Philadelphia. I think in like the late '90s, early 2000s or so. Like Typo Negative played like 3 in a row. And to this day, I was like a teenager. To this day, they're still some of the most fun shows I've ever been to.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, he was just, it was such he had such a unique sound, and the way he played, which I really enjoyed. So he's definitely one. I remember when I was like even when I was even like younger and trying to first get into playing bands and playing music. Everyone wanted to play guitar, be the vocalist or some shit and everything. So I'll never forget watching the Clip 'Em All, like VHS, like the Metallica, like best of like Cliff Burton's
Right.
footage from like I guess before the Master Puppet Store. And I just remember getting that at a very impressionable age, and just like watching this dude play and shit. And I was like, holy fuck, I want to be like that guy.
Right.
All the different versions of them playing Anesthesia and stuff and everything. It's just like, holy shit, look at this guy. It's nuts. His head on a wobble stick, and that mop just fucking like windmilling while he's just shredding bass leads. It was awesome. So those two were definitely the ones that like, made the instrument for me anyway.
Yeah. I can't. Cliff and Pete's crazy underrated for what the hell he did, and Cliff is obviously Cliff. Cliff is definitely not underrated, and for all the right fucking reasons. But similar to what you kind of were mentioning there were shows there in the '90s. Some of the best shows I've ever been to was one of the best shows I've ever been to was when Typo was touring for October Rust with Coal Chamber and somebody else back in the obviously mid to late '90s, and I saw them at a venue that holds a couple thousand people, and it was just mind fucking blowing how great they were.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think I might have saw them on that tour as well. I feel like Typo Negative played with a lot of like new metal bands. I feel like I saw Coal Chamber like a dozen times.
Right.
I'm not even a big fan of them. But they were just on like a bunch of bills with a bunch of bands that I liked, and I was like, all right, well, I guess let's see Coal Chamber again.
Yeah. The at the end of that show, that was the one where they pulled out a couple boxes of fucking toilet paper and started chucking them into the crowd. And my friends and I were dead center on the balcony at this show, and I turned around to say something to my buddy to my right, and turned back to face toward the stage and took a fucking roll of toilet paper right in the nose, man. It was great.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's so ridiculous. I actually, this is completely literal. I'm looking at it as I say this. I got a Typo Negative koozie in the mail just yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember like at those Halloween shows in Philly, they also brought out like a pallet of fucking toilet paper.
Right.
And just like covered the entire spot. The place that they played in Philly was the spot called the Trocadero.
Yes.
Which
I've seen some of the flyers from those shows.
Oh yeah, it was a great venue. It used to be like a burlesque venue in like the late 1800s. So I mean, it's just where it has this very old school, like ornate theater. I think it's been closed down for a while just because of renovations, the ceiling's falling in or some shit. I don't know. It's probably needs a lot of work. But yeah, they just cover that place with toilet paper. I was not jealous of the janitor who had to clean all that up. So it was a fucking mess in there.
Right.
But yeah, but it was just this. Yeah, they had such like I also remember being at those shows and having to chant "You suck" in order to get them to do an encore, which is always so much fun. But you suck, you suck. I'm like, shut up. All right, I guess we'll play a couple more. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
It's so much fun.
It's so ridiculous. Like the typo shows where you're chanting "You suck" or Primus shows where you're chanting "Primus sucks." It's like,
Yeah.
this is what you do, but I absolutely fucking adore you guys, and you don't suck. But this is whatever. We're just doing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely that like just self-deprecating sense of humor, which I don't know. It was always just like they were so good at being like their music was always so serious and so dramatic and stuff. But then the presentation,
it's so romantic.
yeah, absolutely. But then the presentation is always just so kind of goofy and just sort of like, yeah, this is what we do, whatever. You know. There's definitely like I guess some of that I try to take over from that where for Octus where we certainly take the music that we make very seriously and we want to produce like the most interesting stuff we can. But when we're playing it live, it's just like, we're just here to have fun. We're just trying to enjoy ourselves and
right.
We want to put on a good show and maybe interact with the crowd, maybe get them laughing or enjoying themselves, God forbid,
Right. No, yeah. Hell forbid that you have fun while doing something that can be conceived as serious. It's possible, people.
Oh yeah.
If you hold goofiness in your heart every day, you can have it every day.
Yeah. You gotta laugh, man. You gotta laugh. It's the only thing that'll get us all through.
Hey, fucking man. So yeah, to get us back to Octus, there's a constant kind of word salad description that I see for you guys where it's epic post metal symphonic doom. Is
right.
is there a better way to phrase that, or are you good with that?
I've always been trying to find that out myself. We were thinking of atmospheric doom. We were thinking like just something a little bit more simpler. Yeah, I guess that's kind of like the like our one of our struggles is trying to have to just sort of like, well, what is it? And we do draw in a lot of different influences that kind of like blend a couple genres together. So it's always been a challenge to like kind of just be like, all right, well, we do this and we do this, but we also do that, and it's kind of been a thing because we never were like a straight up kind of any specific genre kind of band. We definitely have a lot of influences, a lot of like early '90s. There's definitely a lot of like Opeth and like Gothenburg Rock, death metal in there, but there's also some atmospheric stuff that creeps its way in. So yeah, we're taking suggestions. If anyone has any opinions about it, or just like, what you actually sound like, all right, let's try it. Totally open to it. Totally down because I don't know. We always just try to write the music that's true and honest to ourselves and what we're trying to do, as opposed to necessarily fit in a specific little box of what we're trying to do. So therein lies the challenge. It'd be a lot easier if we just sort of went for a straight down the road, like, hey, this is us people.
We're thrash.
Yeah, exactly. Like these are the parameters in which we write our songs, which I can see how, for marketing purposes, it's certainly a lot easier because then you can just be like, all right, well, this is the crowd that's that's gonna like you because you're exactly like this. But I don't know. I just it's tough to narrow down the influences to just like a couple specific. Therefore, making it a little bit more tough to like narrow down like the specific kind of genre that I guess we fit most comfortably in. I feel like Doom is the closest one that we're just sort of like, yeah, we definitely have like the slower, heavier kind of aspects of it down. So we're definitely in the Doom category. But yeah, the epic, sweeping, symphonic, like I don't know. We're still looking.
I think my end of this is that I would argue that you guys I think you guys own the definition of doom. There's because of the elements that you have and the way that the songs are put together and the way that they progress and all these things. I think for me, you guys have kind of redefined that, and like all these other things are stoner doom or sludge doom or fucking jazz doom or something. I hate the
Yeah.
I hate the qualifiers so damn much. But I think that you guys have kind of, to some degree, redefined and owned that damn term.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to, because there's a lot, yeah, as you were just saying, there's a lot of different like doom within doom, that I feel like people associate doom with either like, yeah, like Black Sabbath worshiping stoner rock, which I got nothing but love for.
Sure.
And there's certainly some Black Sabbath sounding riffs. We definitely get some bluesy sides to us here and there. But then there's also, I think people associate doom with like sludge, where you're just like, hitting like a note every like 5 minutes or something. And it's just like slow as shit, and you're just sort of like, is this the same song? What's happening right now? So it's there's a wide range, just subgenres within subgenres of doom, which
And it drives me nuts.
It can be tough. It's daunting to keep up with.
It's something that this is a tangent that I shouldn't let myself get into, but there's nobody here to regulate me, so I guess I'm going to say things.
There you go.
It's one of those things where I think simple is better. We can just fully encompass a bunch of things in doom. For the longest time, I pushed back against sludge being its own damn thing, but I finally accepted that, and fine. Let's call this sludge. Let's call this doom. Let's call this metal.
Yeah.
Let's call this fucking thrash. There really shouldn't be 75 more variations of this.
It's all, especially when it's just sort of like, one riff in one song, kind of like what makes you that. And like, I don't know, do you have any other riffs in that song other than that one song, there was that one riff, And it's kind of, it's kind of limiting. Like, I get how people want to, I don't know, I guess it makes it easier to parse through, like Spotify searches or something, but I don't know.
You know what? Limiting is a good fucking phrase there. Especially these days with Spotify and with all the bands that are readily available, who are consistently trying to do different things from track to track. It makes all this stuff so much less fucking relevant.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the days, I definitely was a kid of the 90s and grew up with like Metallica albums and stuff, and all of their albums. You go back to all of the good ones anyway, from the 80s. They had different kind of songs, every different kind. They had like the ballad, they had the slow chugger, they had like the epic instrumental, the thrashier fast songs, and it's that kind of essence that I kind of like to have with Oktas, where I don't want it to be, because there's a ton of bands out there that just kind of stay the same kind of like tempo and the same kind of pace throughout the whole album, and that just it gets kind of boring after a while. I like it when it's like more dynamic, where it gets a little faster, gets a little slower, gets a little louder, gets a little quiet, and just sort of like keeps it interesting, as opposed to just like this static like same kind of like
verse chorus breakdown, verse chorus out.
Exactly. Yeah. Just kind of keep it just ahead of the game. Just don't just try not to let it be boring. Always try and keep it interesting.
Sure. So. And that's what makes it fucking fun for me to hear. I guess I can't speak to the larger population, but that's a big reason as to why I wanted to have this conversation with you right now. And kind of in relation to that, and if we're talking about how songs individually are put together, and the post metal or doom or sludge or verse chorus breakdown, whatever, in the room when you guys are writing stuff, how does that work out? How do you decide? How often are you doing something that is, especially with a cello in there, how often is it a struggle for you to decide if vocals should even be a part of it?
I mean, it definitely, there's a handful of different approaches that I feel like we take whenever we're writing, because there's definitely sort of like, we do have oftentimes have like a verse, chorus, verse kind of structure to some of our songs. Some of our songs are more linear, where they just kind of go and never necessarily repeat parts, or they might repeat one or two like throughout it. A lot of times, because we're, I guess, a little bit more of like a long format songwriting, like all of our songs around like 8 or 9 minutes or so. I tend to think of them a lot as almost like, first, second, and third acts, like you would of like a movie.
Sure.
Per se.
More like a movement than a song.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Where, we'll have like the first act or the first movement, and it'll probably be maybe a little bit more like verse, chorus, verse, more like kind of typical song structurally. Then we'll have like the second movement or so where it'll kind of go off in a different direction. Maybe there's a key change, tempo change. Maybe it's just sort of like a quiet part that kind of builds on itself. And then there'll be like sort of like a third act or a third movement where it'll either kind of encompass elements of the first and second act, or just be it's completely completely different thing all of its own, just like a long epic outro. Um, and it's blending it in that different kind of ways, and we each have our own kind of creative say. Like I'll bring maybe a riff and a couple of things, or like some lyrical ideas that I wanted to bring, and then everyone else will have their own kind of like thoughts on where they want it to go. And it's very like the first EP was pretty much like I just kind of wrote it and like brought it to them, whereas it's a lot more communal this time around. And Agnes has been like contributing a lot and writing a lot, which has been fun because she's being a classically trained musician. You're kind of used to just like playing other people's shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're just like, well, what do you want me to play? And I was like, oh, anything you want. She's like, oh yeah, right. I gotta write all this. I gotta fill 9 minutes of music. Like, yeah. Just play anything. Anything will sound good. That's the beauty of her. It's just like, just play something. It'll sound good as long as it's in K. It'll sound cool because it's a cello.
No, for sure. It's I kind of wanted to make the final turn into the last handful of questions here, but
okay,
because you hammered that nail there with Agnes, I do want to dive for just a couple minutes a little bit more into that.
Sure.
Into the writing process with a cello as opposed to clearly the norm is 2 guitarists, a bass, a drummer, a singer, whereas you guys are again 2 bassists, a cellist, and a drummer and a vocalist.
Right.
How does that end up working? You've mentioned her being classically trained, and you've mentioned filling in studio wise versus live wise and all these things. What other ins and outs and fun things are there?
I mean, in a lot of ways, she kind of has more sort of like almost like a lead guitar kind of role in a lot of ways, where a lot of her stuff is just kind of like, is kind of like accents everything that's already kind of going on. And it's only really like the clean parts. Whenever we get quiet, she knows like almost exactly what to do. It's like, oh, I know what to do here, and just kind of like in stores. It's like more during some of like the heavier parts, but she's just like, I'm not sure what to do over this, and we'll bounce ideas back and forth, and it's always like a constructive kind of like, hey, you can do this, you can do that, and then of course she'll just like rip something out and it's like, that's perfect. Was I recording that? Don't forget that. So yeah, it's a lot of just time in the practice room, just jamming on stuff and trying apart like 1,000 different ways, and if it's like, a lot of times it's just sort of like, let's just keep it simple. And then, as we repeat it throughout the song, maybe we'll like, try to complicate it up or add something different rhythmically, or, put a lead on it or something, and, just have it evolve just over time. That's usually a lot how I like to approach it, where it's like the first time around, if we're repeating the part specifically, we'll just kind of keep it like pretty simple, bare bones, but as we repeat it, we'll add different elements to it, or just change it up, or add different kind of rhythmic elements to it, just to keep it fresh, so it's not just the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but it's been fun. It's it's a lot of just like jamming, just like, all right, let's just drill this part for like an hour, see what we get.
Right.
Like, and then I usually have a field recorder, and I'll like go through the recordings, and I'll just be like, this part was awesome, and I'll just put like little clips on the internet, and we'll all listen to it, and see what we feel about it, and point it out the next practice. Like, oh, like when you did this was really cool, and just piece it all together from there.
You guys, with all that stuff, there's if you want to be a music nerd, which I'm kind of trying to restrain myself from being here. There's so many interesting things there when you're putting things together. I guess I should parse this into a music nerd plus a bass player, and then talking to you guys about your extremely bass heavy setup plus the drums. And that's all crazy fucking interesting to me, and it translates live because there's no real focal point where you're doing the rhythm type things with your crazy ass 5-string bass, and then you've got some version of a lead bass type thing and the cello, and completely unmentioned up to this point is your drummer, who is no fucking slouch.
Oh yeah.
Who is just absolutely crushing shit.
Oh yeah.
There's never like, even with the vocals, there's never like it's never simple to just focus on some part of the band, and that's what makes the word band so fucking great for it. It's such a fun fucking experience.
Oh well, thank you, man. I'm glad you appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I feel very fortunate to be able to work with the people that I worked with this project. And yeah, when I approached Ron for it, I was just like, hey man, I just want you to do what you do. And yeah, he definitely like fills in a lot of a lot of empty spaces there. He just loves hitting stuff
Oh
as much as
man,
possible.
he
So yeah, he's a beast.
that is for sure. So
Oh yeah.
let's do the round robin thing here, because we haven't given everybody the actual name cred here. We've got Agnes, we've got Bob, we've got on drums,
Ron McCauley.
and then on forgive me if I fucked this up, but I'm pretty sure on lead bass.
Yeah, well, there's Carl Whitlock.
Okay.
Who we kind of go back and forth between doing like leads. He does a lot
Right.
more
No,
like,
that was
kind
that.
of lead part.
I'm actually going to blame you for this, because you said lead and rhythm earlier, because I kind of thought you guys is interchangeable to start with.
We both do like our own kind of like, he has a lot more sort of like, he takes over a lot of like the quiet parts, a lot of like more of like the arpeggio strumming parts. He writes a lot of that for us, whereas I tend to do, if it's like an electric lead, that tends to be something that I usually write. We go back and forth with stuff and everything. That's also adds to the challenge when we bring it into the studio.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, well, who's the rhythm guy? And it's like, well, we both are. It's like, all right, well, who's doing the lead? Oh, well, sometimes we both are.
We're lead rhythm.
Yeah.
There's two more things I want to hit here before we go into the just stupidity to end this damn thing.
Okay.
One of them being the I'll tell you what, before we go, we'll parlay that into this. So the artwork for these things, if I understand things right, you're doing the artwork.
Yes, I paint all the like landscapes, album covers. Yeah, I went to school for illustration like 20 years ago, and been painting my my whole life, and I still really enjoy doing it. I don't have as much time as I'd like to in order to dedicate to it, but every time I can, I'm down in my basement just kind of pushing some paint around.
What are the inspirations and the thought processes there?
A lot of it, I guess, is coming from a lot of times when I, go on trips with like my wife and stuff. We tend to do a lot of sort of like nature-oriented stuff, I guess, because we live in the city. So every time we have an opportunity to get out in the nature, we're just like, oh yeah, let's get out of here. And a lot of them stem from, just like going out either like the Pocono areas around Philly, but we've also done some great like trips over to like Iceland and Norway, and just really getting out into, seeing, I'm just a sucker for landscapes and stuff. And whenever we get out and we travel and stuff, a lot of times I come back and I'm just like, oh, I just got to paint. I just got to get this image down that I just saw out there, and I just got to do it. So definitely a lot of, a lot of travel inspired stuff when that comes. So,
How hard is it to translate an actual painting to the digital medium?
I mean, it can be tough because it's just a lot of times they don't really coincide, but there'll usually be like a concept or something that I have in my head, and I'll try to illustrate it through some of my artwork, and then B, I'll try to like express it like lyrically through one of the songs, and then there's a lot of just different concepts and ideas that always flow around. They just kind of find their ways out into the different, medias and forms that I like to express myself in. So there's a lot of flowing in between, I would say.
Do you have art available anywhere that isn't an Oktas album?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I have a website. And I have an Instagram that I have a lot of my paintings on, which I don't update nearly enough, but it's just kind of like an online, portfolio that I use, and that's my Bob Stokes Art on Instagram. And then I have a website which I think is robertburnstokesart.com. I have to look it up. I'm bad at plugging my own shit. But that has a lot of my paintings. And I've been dabbling back into doing a little bit more illustrative stuff, and been working on this new can design for this brewery that I work with. And that's been a real treat in order to get some of my stuff onto a beer can for people to enjoy. So it's just trying to find different avenues in which I can get my stuff out there a little bit more. So it's been fun.
It sounds like it, and I'll be damned if that didn't end up being the perfect fucking parlay. In that I wanted to go from there talking about your art, which is absolutely fucking cool, and you should sort out how to better recommend people places to see it. I will certainly try to find your Instagram and publish that there with the socials and stuff.
Oh, that'd be great.
Into that, the beer that you're brewing for Decibels Metal and Beer Fest, and I assume you're doing the art for that, and how all these things came about.
Well, I've been working at Yards Brewing Company for about 10 years now, and I've been brewing there for about 3 or 4 years or so. I did everything there. I was like in the warehouse, I was in the packaging department and stuff. So I've been in the brew house for a while now, and they have the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest every year at in Philadelphia. So we've always kind of participated with that, and we just do a lot of our more core brands. And I was just up my boss's asses about it, trying to get some of my own ideas on there because I'm a member of the metal community around here, and so we worked on getting ourselves together. I did this painting late last year called Crown of Mountains, where it just has like this. I think it is available. I think it's on my Instagram, both my personal one and my art one, and it was just the painting was available, and I was like, hey guys, you just want to use this, and we'll do something fun, do an interesting beer with it. And they've been very accommodating and very supportive of that, which I definitely appreciate. And it's going to be sort of a New England IPA. I'm not sure if you're a fan of those kind of beers.
I'll tell you what, this could be a fun. We could have a recurring segment where you make fun of people for their beer taste here. It's the no. This is lean into it is my suggestion. I'm standing here next to my microphone. Here is a table that has like Labatt Blue Light is my base.
Okay.
I start with those. I feel like those are a good light beer, and I have a Labatt Blue Light, and then I have a Mexican lager, and then I have a Labatt Blue Light, and then I have something weird. In this case, something weird was a. Oh man, I've never had to say this out loud. Weinstoffer, Pilsner.
A Weinstoffer. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's for sure how you say it.
Yeah.
And
got it.
And then also in my bag here next to me, the next beer I'm currently sucking on an LBL, as I call them lovingly.
Oh yeah.
My next beer is going to be an Ithaca Apricot Wheat.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, they're tasty. But all that to say, I can't do the IPAs. I can do some of the hazy IPAs. I can do some of the lighter type things. Partly because with the way I drink, something that's 8% ABV is gonna.
Oh yeah.
It's not gonna end well for me.
Yeah, they're not. They're definitely not something you can have all the time.
No,
like all day. You're just like, ooh,
right.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
But I don't want to. I don't know if I'm being beer snob or if I'm not being beer snob or if I'm being beer lame or if I'm. So all that circling back to, I want to funnel beer opinions through Bob. What? Okay. How am I doing over here?
I think you're doing great, man. I think it's good to have like a nice variety. I don't think there's such a thing as a bad taste in beer. You just like what you like. I mean, there's a bunch of like light lagers that I enjoy, especially like in the middle of summer. It's like hot as fuck outside. I get an ice cold light lager. I'm all about it. You know what I mean?
Amen.
But yeah, I think it's also good to expand your horizons too, because there's a lot of I have a lot of friends and family members that are big fans of like lighter lagers. They like the macro beers, your like Budweisers and Miller Lights and stuff. Nothing wrong with those either. But there's also a lot of great like light German lagers out there, that local breweries might be making. You can get like I heard you got a Pilsner there, which those are great. You got Hellas's, Kolsch's. There's lots of different styles out there, and I think as long as you're, trying different stuff. You got a week there. I think that's great. You know, I think as long as you're trying different stuff, there's a lot of great beers out there. A lot of great, small breweries out there doing good stuff, and that's all I would say. Is just we've never in America have had more options.
Amen.
For a locally brewed beer than we do right now, and it's just I don't know. I think it's a blessing. I think we're doing some really good, interesting beer out there. And yeah, all I would say is just try some different stuff. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I'm in the same boat like with the I do love me a good New England IPA here and there, like a fruity, juicy one. But I've also had some bad ones.
Sure. Yeah. They can't all be zingers.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times it's because they don't really like filter them. And not that there's anything you can definitely. There's a lot of when you're like filtering beer, you can strip a little bit of like the hop oils and some of the flavor and aromas can get lost in it. But then also sometimes you're getting some of the yeast in there, and you shouldn't be drinking that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you filter it for a reason. Get your stomach all bubbly.
No, and you don't want that. There's many other reasons to have your stomach bubbly, and beer shouldn't be one of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But let's while I may actually call on you for a recurring Bob Rates Your Beer segment.
Sure.
Let's tell us about the beer that you're brewing for Decibels Metal and Beer Fest, when that is, where that can be found, all those things, because that's a fucking cool thing to be involved with.
Oh yeah, well, thanks, man. I mean, yeah, I'm excited to be working with Decibel along with this as well. They've been very supportive. They've always done a lot of cool stuff, and yeah, so it's exciting for me. And yeah, I believe the Decibel Fest. I believe that's like April 14th or something. Let me just look up online real quick. But yeah, they do it every year, and I think they do it in Denver as well. But yeah, and the kind of beer that we're going for is a like a habanero mango New England IPA. So I've been looking forward to trying. Yeah, I've been trying to do a pepper beer for a while. It's been I've never really done one myself, so it's just kind of exciting to try. So I'm looking forward to how it's coming out. We've got a couple test batches already in the like we have a 1-barrel system there where it's kind of like at a little place that we have like Jars is like a 100-barrel brew house, so we have like some big large scale beers that we do, but we also have a little 1-barrel system that kind of looks like a toy compared to the other one.
Yeah.
But it's great for just like messing around with recipes and trying stuff and just getting some interesting ingredients in and everything. So we got one on there and it's tasting pretty good. I think I'm going to try another version or two before we get the final thing going. But yeah, that's going to be for the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. I believe it's April 12th, the 13th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so that should be fun, and it's going to be called Crown of Mountains IPA. It's got a lot of like Citra mosaic hops in there, which I believe are kind of like the holy grail of hops nowadays. They're just sort of like you can't go wrong if you're using those in your beer. And yeah, some like some mango puree in there, and some habaneros, and yeah, it's been interesting, man. It's been fun.
I love me some spicy stuff, and I believe it or not, I love me some beer too. And
nice.
Trying to combine the two is always an interesting thing. I've tried a handful of habanero or some other version of allegedly spicy beer things that are always I don't know if always is the word here, but are usually mixed with some kind of fruit type thing, and the results are for sure varied. Sometimes it feels like I took a drink of some kind of wheat fruity thing and then immediately chased it with a handful of pepper, and sometimes it tastes the way somebody intended on it to taste, and it's delicious.
I mean, yeah, that's the struggle with these beers, and and that's been kind of the fun process of it. Yeah, we certainly don't want to make something that's undrinkable. You know what I mean? We're definitely going for aiming for the fences here with it. But yeah, the test batch we've had so far, it's been very tasty, very fruity. Like it's there, like the heat's there, but it's not like overwhelming. I think that's the key thing where it's just sort of like it's got to be there, just sort of like. Just at the very end, very tip, as soon as you swallow it, you're just like, oh, there's a little bit of heat.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something.
Yeah, just to compliment it, you know what I mean? Not to overwhelm anyone, but just to like sort of accent the flavors that are already happening. So that's our goal, and I think we're already kind of got it, and I'm real excited to get it out there.
I mean, should the phase align and I find myself in Philly in early April, I will certainly be looking for that to put it in my belly because it sounds delicious.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you.
Other than that, Bob, this has been a lot of fun and a solid fucking conversation. You guys, you know, I don't. The whole point in this stupid ass fucking podcast is to talk to bands that I'm interested in talking to. And if anybody is a returning listener, they know that I'm a bass player, and you know that I'm a bass player, and so there's obvious connections here. But also, you know, you combine the post metal doomy stuff, and this has been a lot of fun for me, is what I'm saying. And it's been a super interesting conversation between artwork and bass stuff, and just the way you guys put your stuff together, and you know, let alone fucking beer. So since we've had an interesting conversation so far, I'm going to take another drink. I'm now onto the apricot wheat here. I'm going to take a drink of it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, hell, man, it's been a pleasure for me as well, dude. This has been very enjoyable. It's a good time.
Well, I'm going to ruin that now, and we're going to go out on some stupidity here. We're going to end this with just the way that we've done these things all the times before. Because I think it's stupid and fun, and I enjoy it. I've got a couple mental edits here that I'm going to try to do on the fly. So if it sounds dumber than usual, whatever, deal with it. We'll start with some rapid fire type things here.
Okay.
And if you're ready, I will start.
Okay, go ahead.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
That's the right answer.
Nice.
What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Ooh, pizza.
Good call. Beatles or Stones?
Nice. What was that?
Beatles or Stones?
I think I might have to go with Beatles.
Oh, that.
Oh,
all right. I'll let you live. I'll let you live.
50-50 shot of that one.
Now the right. That's solid math. The way this is written is Simpsons or Family Guy, and personally, I can't do Family Guy, and I've been bored with The Simpsons for a long time. So I'm going to switch this to Simpsons or Bob's Burgers.
Ooh, I mean Simpsons. I mean those first like 8 or 9 seasons are just creme de la creme, best like TV show era of all time.
Sure,
shaped my sense of humor. So I'm gonna have to go with Simpsons.
That's...
I do love Bob's Burgers. It's very charming, very funny show, but
I adore me some Bob's Burgers at this time. And let alone, I don't know if it's just that dude's dumbass voice, but the Archer stuff too. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
That's a conversation for a different podcast. What's the fastest speed you've ever driven?
Ooh, probably only like 85, honestly. I'm a conservative driver. What can I say?
I can't drive 85. Let's see here. Stale Sour Patch Kids or fresh circus peanuts?
Ooh, let's go circus peanuts.
Oh man, those that's a. I mean, no, there's no good answer there. That one I just put in there because they're both gross.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll throw it out there anyways. Beer or liquor?
Oh, beer all day.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
What is the capital of New York?
Albany?
It is. Good job out of you.
Nice.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, geez. I guess fly? Is that the one? Right?
Hell's bells. This one's a purely personal choice.
I think flying sounds like it'd be a fun way to get around and do cool stuff with.
You'd certainly save on gas mileage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get 1 million MPGs.
Oh yeah. 1 million MPGs?
I get 1 million flies per gallon. I don't know.
Oh yeah, love
it. Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
Ooh, I would say 2. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I'm not good. Like I'm just like, okay. I just tell people, just don't tell me. I don't want to know.
That's an equal parts perfect and awful answer.
Yeah, it's like just don't tell me. I don't want to
know. Woods or the ocean?
I'll go with woods. Ocean's a little scary. I'm just like, I don't know. I like the woods.
Sure, yeah, that shit's deep, and we as a species have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah. Too much.
fall or spring?
Fall, definitely.
Yeah.
Big fall guy.
Go-to karaoke song, and you can't name one of your own.
Geez. The last one I did was actually Creeping Death with my wife. It was pretty good. I thought it was a crowd pleaser. I was trying to get everyone to chant "Die," but the place emptied out.
Some friends of mine, a buddy of mine and his kid went to the Detroit Metallica show here recently, and the kid who's 22 at this point, was telling me in advance of going to the show that he hoped to death that they played Creeping Death because he wanted to chant "Die."
It's a banger. It's a good song.
It's so fucking good, man. That's awesome.
Love it.
And the last one, and in a most important and also least important, but most fun version here, sausage links or patties?
I'm going to go with patties.
That's the actual fucking right answer.
Nice.
That is the right answer. And then
one of them.
Like there are some questions that as I go forward with this thing, I think I might feed to people before we're recording so that they can, because this one usually gives people a lot of pause, and this is something I maybe should have fed to you previously. But also the pause can be fun. So if you were stuck on an island for the rest of your life, had one album to listen to for it, what would it be?
Oh, man. Oh, geez. Just one album, huh?
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. The only one that's coming to mind is like October Rust by Tempo Negative.
Hey, I think we mentioned that previously.
It's a good one. It's a banger.
It's a fucking good one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, just because, no, this doesn't make sense to ask Clint because he just named it. I was going to say, what would your favorite Typo Negative album be? But if you're going to take that one to an album or to an island, clearly it's October Rust.
It's a good one. I don't know if it's good island music, but I'll enjoy it.
It'll get me through. Okay, yeah. Like I mentioned previously, Bob, I'm gonna keep you on here through the end, which means you're gonna get to hear me say awkward things like "Thank you for enduring this conversation with me today. It's been a lot of fun for me. I hope it's been worthwhile for you."
Absolutely, man. It's been my pleasure.
I'm going to tell everybody that's hearing this to be sure to listen to Oktas at the highest possible volume immediately after this podcast is over. And if you're going to the Decibel Beer Metal Fest, be sure to look for Bob's beer. Bob, what was that called again?
It's going to be the Crown of Mountains IPA.
I can't wait to crown them mountains and drink that beer.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks again to the Birmingham guys for continually allowing that epitomed what's the word I want? Code for the discount on their delicious mead. Just a reminder, if you want to drink better alcohol, then if you want to drink alcohol that's on par with the stuff that Bob's brewing, drink you some award-winning mead from Birmingham. Epitomed is the code EPITOMEAD at birminghammeadery.com. I haven't been drinking. It's clear that I'm sober. Review us on iTunes. Jesus Christ, Clint. Review us on iTunes or give us stars on Spotify if you would, could, and should, please. If you don't already, please follow the podcast on all the socials. And by all the socials, I mean essentially Facebook, Instagram, and however the fuck we're supposed to reference Twitter at this point, because I don't understand it. And I'm not doing any of the video social medias, so you're not going to find us on TikTok or whatever the hell else there is. Bob, again, thanks for enduring this. You've been a lot of fun. This has been enlightening, and your music is fucking awesome. Tell everybody in the band that I and all my other nerds say hi. And this is bye from me. I'm going to make my fart noise because I like it.
Nice.
And I'm going to let Bob introduce the song that's going to take us out.
Thank you so much, Clint. This was a pleasure as well. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoy the song Still From. Came off of our first EP, our self-titled EP that came out in 2019. And it's epic and soul crushing. I hope you enjoy it.